Super Bowl Sunday! How are we doing, everybody? Guess who's back? This guy back at again. Move the chains, representing. How are we doing today? Super Bowl day. Big day. I'm recording this a couple hours beforehand. Let's go. Let's try and enjoy and grasp this feeling we got for 60 more minutes of football, and then it's over for a couple months. Although we got the combine, we got other shit going on. But this is firing me up. So, today, as I'm driving around and I'm kind of doing stuff, and I want to give a shout out to my old manager, Aaliyah, at McDonald's. It was so great seeing her. She's one of my favorites ever. I was so great seeing her today. And hashtag big dog, hashtag slay. She's killing over there. You go, girl. So I wanted to throw that out. And every other manager Jen and manager Amanda and Bree, I just love all you guys. So I wanted to start, though, with, I saw some news today. Mr. Aaron Rodgers, he's leaving. Jets are moving on. They've moved on from him. And my take is, this is how it always ends, man. It had Michael Jordan Wizards vibes near the end. Called out a teammate. You know, the play wasn't there. You know, it's a shame he got hurt 2 years ago. But this is just what happens. And, you know, again, Aaron, I think, kind of figured out that grass ain't always greener on the other side. And he went to the Jets, which Brett Favre did. And Green Bay's just sitting there laughing. Like, this is why the Green Bay Packers have been so successful and the Jets aren't. And it doesn't surprise me. Now the dominoes, you know, it was reported by Jay Glazer, who I have a lot of respect for. He knows the game, ifs, ands, and everything about it. But now you kind of get in this weird thing where, okay, where should he go? How much does he have left? Because obviously he's not as good as he was 5 years ago. Like, we can just admit it. I saw it. He did play great down the stretch, but you saw early in the year, like, his rust was key. And I know he was hurt and all that. So maybe next year he's fully healthy. There's no drama going on. But this is what Aaron Rodgers is now. You get drama. You get all this bullshit. He's just a weird dude. He's a complex guy. He's an enigma. We can't figure him out. He's just bizarre. He's gifted. That's all I can say. And it's just so funny to me that Devontae, then I got another word today, Devontae's out. So, it's just, here we go. And this was never going to work with the Jets. And I got 2 words for Devontae. Because I call him Devontae Dumbass Adams. So DDA is my initials for him. Because it's one thing when you're a player of his caliber. He was at the top of the mansion. He was at the top of the hill. He gets drafted in the Green Bay Packers, who we know, biggest brands in football. It's Cowboys, it's Packers, it's Steelers. Those 3 are going to get numbers on TV regardless. I've been learning this my whole life. So you go from that. Then you go to the Raiders, which I'm representing today. Let's go Raiders! I'm just playing. We're not even in the game, so I'm rooting for the Eagles. I respect the Chiefs, but it's time to be done. However, I understood it. I didn't get why he left. You know, maybe Aaron, all that, whatever. But you left to go to the Raiders, who, let's be historic, let's be honest, last 30 years you've had 295 losses. You've not been able, stable consistency. You've sucked. And I'm the Raider fan, and I'm the biggest one. But I'm honest here. I'm not pom-pom waving, go Sammy, none of that shit, okay? So, again, you left that. You went from great to shit, and then I think maybe go to Buffalo. Maybe go one of those places. Okay, back to great. Nope. Great, and then it just like triples down to shitty again. And then he's all shocked when the last 2 stops he's been at haven't won as much as he should. Have you tracked the game? They've sucked for 30 years. The Jets and the Raiders are the same team. One's on the East, one's on the West Coast. It's just same shit. So, you know, again, I think the Jets have some pieces. The roster's nice, but here we go again. And I just don't trust this organization as far as I can throw them. I don't. I think the Jets could be good. You know, I'll give my postseason, you know, maybe before the year predictions on the divisions, but it's just the same old shit over and over with the Jets. And I don't know. I got to see how this pans out, and we'll see what happens. So I want to dive into my predictions. Great having you guys in today. I had to give my shout out to Aaliyah, Jen Bayer, and everybody else, Brianna Smith and Amanda Ratt. And I just had to give my shout out. I love all you guys. You guys make my job a hell of a lot easier. So I did want to talk about, today I did the NFC East on Friday, and today I'm going to go over the NFC North, which was about as stacked a division that I've seen in my lifetime. And here's the thing with the NFC North. I've been a Packer fan. Most of you guys know it's my second team. I love an AFC and NFC team. But, man, I've been watching this division a long time. And since 2007. So it'll be going on, 18 years. And one thing I know about the NFC North is this is a classic black and blue division, slobber knock, fist banging, just full on go. And it's a great division. The Lions have been shitty for a long time. It was always Green Bay's. And you always had Green Bay, Minnesota. Chicago had their little bit of run. But, man, now it's a three-team race, man. And, the Lions, I'll start with them because they were my team to win the NFC North, and they did this year. Very impressive. I think the job that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have done, it's just incredible. And I talked to Mike Kesnick and everybody else about this. It is just a cool-ass feeling to be a Lions fan right now. Now, I know it sucks. You did lose in the NFC Championship game 2 years ago when you had that lead and you pissed it down your leg. And then you had the lead last year at home. You had the game this year at home in your stadium, and you just lost it. So it's a bad feeling, bad taste in your mouth. But not all hope's lost. You're going to be fine. Listen, you got to replace some guys, but here's the thing. You still got your core intact. Jared Goff comes back. Your offensive line's still there. You got both running backs. They ain't leaving. St. Brown, you got guys like that. So, in Hutchinson and McNeil come back on the defensive line. If they could have Myles Garrett, holy shit, watch out. That is a match made in heaven, baby. Then that means next year, I believe, they're the favorites to win the NFC. I do believe that. But if they got to stay healthy, though. But I'm saying, if they were to go get him, Myles Garrett, this is all or nothing, man. Like, you only get these windows with these teams very short in this league. So, Lions, you got to take advantage of it. Because I'm telling you, you've got to take advantage of this opportunity. You have it right there. You got to close. So I think if I'm the Lions, listen, I know that they've done it into the draft and all that. But maybe that mantra that Leslie had a couple years ago when they went all in and they won a Super Bowl with Matt Stafford, F them picks, you got to do that now. Now, I don't know if they'll do it. Maybe. We'll see. So I just think the Lions are still the favorites to me in that division to win it. The most continuity. Everybody comes back. You got the same coaching staff. Mostly. But this is what happens when you're a great team. You lose guys like this, and it happened with the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl against Tom Brady, and that's so on and so forth. So I do believe the Lions are still going to be the best team in that division next year. The team that I did pick to finish second last year was the Packers. They had a weird year, okay? I still think Matt LaFleur's a good coach. I'm not disputing that. They've been to the playoffs. This is a very well-run organization. They do things the right way. But if I'm them right now, I did say the Lions should go all in. But I had a hunch the other day. I was thinking about this the other day. Green Bay did this once with a pass rusher. His name was Reggie White. If anybody remembers, who's not as old as I am, but I'm a football historian a little bit. He was with the Philadelphia Eagles. They didn't keep him. They let him go. Green Bay called. Hey, God's calling because Reggie White was a preacher. And then he goes. They get a Super Bowl out of it. They go to 2. That's the move to me Green Bay has to do. If I'm them. Now, listen, Myles Garrett's going to get 31 other teams on the damn phone. That's just how I think it's going to happen. Raiders, everybody. But if I'm the Green Bay, I know they don't hit free agency often. There's been a couple moves they've done in their history that have paid dividends. Reggie White, Charles Woodson, and I believe Myles Garrett if you do that. Because now you add. Because their roster, I don't believe is as good as Philadelphia or Detroit or anybody. And maybe Minnesota, maybe. We can debate that. But you got to go all in right now. Because Jordan Love is on that contract. You ain't getting out of that. And to talk about Jordan Love, I do think next year is a critical year for him. I'm not saying like he's on the hot seat or nothing because he had that heater 2 years ago, 32-11. And last year he had a good year, but just very inconsistent. But he was hurt and all that stuff. I think this year's a big year for him, though. Because we got to see, okay, can he return to that guy that we saw on that heater down that 8-game stretch 2 years ago when he went into Dallas and beat the shit out of the Cowboys? Can he return to that? Because if you're going to get that Jordan Love in stretches last year where I went, oh, okay, that's Aaron Rodgers. That's some traits a little bit that I see. So I'm very interested to see what Green Bay does. Because they're still going to be good. I'm not disputing that. But I think now we got to start wondering, okay, what's the direction of this Packer team? Because they did make the playoffs this past year, but they ran into Philadelphia, who played them very tough. I mean, that defense for last couple of years on the Green Bay side of the ball, the defense side of the ball, they've been better 2021 they were good in the playoff game. They lost to San Francisco, obviously, and then they just beat the shit out of the Cowboys, and they kept it close with the Niners. So I do think they're there, but it's just going to be hard. That division's a mother. I'm not disputing that. Minnesota, I'll get to them in a second. But to me, I just feel like they're on the right track with the right pieces, right infrastructure in place to make another run at the playoffs. So Minnesota, I want to get to them. They did surprise me this past year. They went 15-2. They lost. It was so funny. I think they went whatever the record was. They had 4 losses, 2 to the Lions and 2 to the Rams. Reminds me of the Raiders went 6-0 in division, but then 2-6 against everybody else. So it's a wacky thing. I think they went no. I'm trying to think because they went 8-8. I'm trying to think here. Okay, so they were 6-0 in division, and then 2-8 against everybody else. That's what I remember. Okay, so Minnesota's got a dilemma though. Now it's a good dilemma to have. I'm just throwing this out. Sam Darnold, I believe, leaves because I think Minnesota, you saw it near the end with Kevin O'Connell, was kind of frustrated and kind of, you saw the angst and all that stuff with them, with Sam Darnold. And listen, I love Sammy. I was thinking about this in my walk today. I love Sam Darnold. I love him. He's got my name, kind of that quiet, good guy, likable, all that stuff, characteristics of me. Although I do look like Baker Mayfield, that's fine. But to me, I kind of mirror both guys. I love Baker Mayfield, the edginess, the chippy, the pissed off, intense, Energizer Bunny, woo, NASCAR, woo, and all that stuff. But I just feel like right now, the Vikings are going to get rid of Sam. And listen, he could come to us. That would be a great thing because then we can, I'm a little nervous about that because I've seen Sammy go to great shithole organization, shithole, Jets, Panthers, and then great Niners, Vikings, and then back to shithole. So maybe we'll see. But we'll get to that later. But my point is, now they got J.J. McCarthy in the wing. And I'll say this with that offense with Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell, and listen, I like Kevin O'Connell a lot. And I agree with Middlecoff on this standpoint. Sometimes we talk about player malpractice. I think coaching malpractice needs to be more discussed. Because in that playoff game, Sam Darnold was getting his ass beat and getting sacked all the time. Kevin O'Connell's problem was he was calling all these pass plays. It reminded me when the Bears had Mike Martz back in the day. And Bear fans know this as good as anybody. Is that when your quarterback's getting sacked so much, you can run the ball and take the pressure off your offensive line. And I think Minnesota and Kevin O'Connell, it didn't make sense to me because Minnesota was only down, 10-3 in that game? So Kevin O'Connell, I think, has got to do a better job. I'm not saying he's a bum. He's not overrated. I know the media likes him. He's an attractive guy. I'm not disputing that. But I think Kevin O'Connell's got to do some things different. I'm not saying you got to change the whole thing. And he's a very smart guy, and he's had success. I'm not disputing that. But you got to win the playoffs now. We've seen you stack wins together, and you've been very impressive doing that. Because this team's pretty damn good. And I'll say this with Minnesota. They, to me, have a good roster. And maybe they're just a cursed franchise. I don't know. There's 3 of them in this league. The Chargers, the Bills, and maybe the Vikings. I don't know. Because I think at some point they're going to crack through the door. I really, truly do. But I just worry, though, going forward, how is JJ going to look compared to Sam Darnold in this offense? Now, he does offer more in terms of mobility and all that stuff. But a slider kid, arms okay, not bad, but not great. So we'll see what happens moving forward. You got great weapons. This is, to me, a classic example. If you're a Viking quarterback, to me, drive the Ferrari, don't crash it, and don't screw up. That's what I feel like to me. Because every piece of the puzzle is great. Aaron Jones, you have your backs. Christian Darrisaw comes back. You have Cam Robinson as insurance, who, by the way, we don't talk about that enough, was one of the better in-season trades that I think I've seen in a while from a team. They got a really good left tackle in Cam Robinson, who had his moments of struggling. Like he's had his whole career down in Jacksonville. Kind of got lost down there. But you saw the moment, that was a great insurance policy for the Vikings to have. So I do think Minnesota's coming. I think they're there. Got to improve some stuff. I'm not saying a lot, but just a little bit. And last but not least, the Bears. I think they're going to be where they were. They were like this for a reason. You had all this change. You had Caleb Williams coming in, number 1 overall pick, all the pressure. I still feel the same today. I've been on the Caleb thing, and listen, can he ever be great? I don't know. But I think he's got the chance to be. But, man, I just think he's got an uphill battle with Chicago. It's just the organization, the McCaskies, And RIP to Virginia, by the way, to live 102 years old. That's my goal in life. I'm not talking about death here. I'm not trying to get dark here. But my point is, I'm trying to live to that, hopefully. Cross my fingers. But I just think the Bears, listen, there's talent there. But they're kind of like Cleveland right now. At least Chicago's got a quarterback, and Cleveland doesn't. But I've kind of compared them. Great historic franchises, Browns, Bears, but just they can't ever get their shit together. They're kind of weird. But I don't know. I think the Ben Johnson thing, listen, I get it from the standpoint you got to get a guy, and I've heard this too, when you're on a rookie contract and you get a young quarterback, you have to have an offensive-minded coach. I think that does help. And I do think that getting Ben Johnson to pair with Caleb Williams is going to be a good thing, and I think it does weaken Detroit in some aspects. But this is different now. Ben Johnson just went from calling plays to now you got to deal with everything. Because in Detroit, I heard a standpoint of this too, is he can just worry about the offense and nothing else. Now, he's got to worry about, hey, a guy got DUI last night at 3 in the morning. Shit, what do I got to do now? I was telling my buddy Derek Solomon this. So, much love, brother. But my point is, I just feel like right now, he's got a lot on his plate. And we could see what happens. We'll see. I don't know. So, we'll see with the Bears. But that was my NFC North recap today. Hope you guys are doing well. Super Sunday. Moving the chains. We're rocking. We're rolling. Got more content coming out this week. Trades are happening. Debo wants out. Get into that tomorrow. But have a great day. Super Bowl Sunday. Adios. Godspeed.